Happy Tuesday. It's Coach Drew. It's your boy. We're doing the LEARNin Local Challenge, week 5. Let's make it happen. Hello, hello, hello. What is going on? Happy Tuesday. I am on location in Encinitas, California, doing this live show in the mobile office, and I really appreciate you tuning in. If you have never been a part of what we're doing here at LEARNin Local Live, let me go specifically straight into what the LEARNin Local Challenge is. The LEARNin Local Challenge is a 6-week program. We're in our 5th week currently, but it's a 6-week program for anyone who is potentially currently investing in real estate, or anyone, you might be a homeowner who's looking for specific information about like the whole process. We are the first live network of real estate professionals who are actually doing a first-time home buyer, first-time investor seminar live over a 6-week period. So you can't get it. You can't get this information anywhere else. We are identifying currently. We're really mainly based out of San Diego County. So all the professionals that we have are in San Diego County, but soon we'll be open up to a nationwide network of individuals providing real deals, real insights, and real information from people you could trust, because we're live. So by the way, if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'm Coach Drew. I'm the founder of learninlocal.com. And Lifeline is my company. So it's a consulting company that I actually do business for real estate professionals. And it's simple. We're living in a day and age where 2026, I call it the year of the avatar. You know what I mean? And if you're not on live video, you might as well not exist in the future of real estate as it relates. So I'll just leave it at that, because everyone knows I could probably speak a ton. But I want to introduce, even more importantly, what LEARNin Local Live is as a whole, so you can completely understand, and we can get right into the live questions, talking about what we're talking about today: protecting your investment, closing the deal, and making sure that things are all buttoned up. It's going to be a great show. But what is LEARNin Local Live? LEARNin Local Live is the very first live real estate podcast that brings you real estate professionals, subject market educators, in real time, answering your questions about real estate when you want it, like literally, like at the spot. You're like listening and live. So how our goal is to educate, empower, and inspire your first property purchase, or maybe your 100th purchase. And our goal is to be the place to go for real estate information, because honestly, our attention spans are so short. We might as well go live. Let's just start talking about short our attention spans and just go live directly, so you can talk to the people that you need to talk to. And that's really what we do. How we make it happen is we connect, collaborate, and create with individuals like the people that you'll meet today. Aris, Mr. Carlsbad.
What's up, everybody?
We got Martin Money Making Magana out of Oak Rock Realty. What's going on, brothers? How are you guys?
Doing great. It's a beautiful day.
You know what? I have a lot of friends all across the country. This is probably the most beautiful day everywhere in the nation, because everywhere else is under 3 feet of snow.
We're very lucky, very lucky. So happy to be here.
Most of NorCal is raining. I think it just stopped, but this entire week it was raining, so we'll probably get a bunch of rain this week.
100%. Hey guys, so I'll basically get right into it. Week 5, we're talking about how to protect your investment and close your first deal. Eris, over $100 million in real estate. You have done deals. Martin, I know as a wholesaler, you see deals all the time. Let's try to educate as many people as we can today. We have about 45 minutes. My time up is 2 o'clock. So we're going to try to get as many people answering questions, and like literally we're going to make a difference for anyone that's posting questions. But what we do, guys, just so you know, is that we're basically queuing up questions from emails, texts, phone calls that we might get, and then we're just going to post them up here for Aris and Martin to essentially answer. So really quick, I didn't go through all the slides, because what we're realizing is that people want more questions answered and less of me talking, brother. So I'm with it. I'm just here to open the door. These guys are willing to step in and just educate and drop mics. So let's just get going. You know what? Emerson is producing the show. He's in the background. Emerson, why don't you drop the first questions that we have coming, and until we wait for some questions that are. All right, this is perfect, guys. This is like a softball question, you guys. But again, you guys know the rules. You know, we're trying to explain it to them just so they can see this content in curated form and hopefully tune into us in our long form content. But let me start with you, Eris, really quick. What's one major risk you consistently see investors overlook before closing? What's something that you see?
Yeah, that's a great one, and I think you have to understand every deal is different, so the risks are always going to be different and greater depending on what the deal is. But I think one that just gets overlooked a lot is title. And I think that is something that people make the mistake of thinking it's just automatic, and while you can get away with that, a good percentage of the time, that's not always the case. And when there's some issue with the title, that will kill your deal. If you catch it. If you don't, and the deal moves forward and you didn't catch it, then you got bigger problems. So, I always make sure that whatever the deal is, we have clear title, before anything else happens.
No, I got you. Understood. Martin, can you kind of that? I mean, there's just like I know it's kind of a loaded question, but again, just would love to hear your thoughts about that same question.
100%. I agree how every deal is going to be different because some deals will have different red flags, some will not. The main one I see strictly from like an investment side is basically underestimating what your rehab is going to be and underestimating the little fees that are in the process. So if you don't take the time to check the plumbing, don't get an inspection report, don't take the time. The roof is in bad shape, but you didn't really account for it because you thought it would be fine. Little things like that is what kills deals. And then the little fees, like, oh, I forgot property tax. I have to pay for title and closing because I thought that would be covered. There's HOA fees I didn't even know about, or there's I'm going to need permitting, and I just completely forgot to account for that when I start my project and there's no permits. So the little fees and underestimating those fees is what I see is like the biggest issue for most investors, especially first-time investors.
100%. And can I just add one thing and just kind of like, curate content for myself? One major risk I consistently see that investors make before closing is that they never bother to get insurance on the property. So like sometimes it's just like an overlooked thing. Honestly, this is the reason, guys, why I'm not an insurance agent, because I was overlooked so much. Is like, as much as it's important, like literally it's the last thing people think about when they want to buy a deal is like how much insurance is going to cost. But the problem is, if you can't insure it, you're likely not gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And if a real insurance agent who gave you actually good insurance on a crappy property gave you a quote, likely it's higher than you would originally imagine. So in case of someone buying a rental property, it just completely breaks the debt service coverage ratio. It's just like it's such a simple thing, insurance. You know what I mean? So anyways, I wish we had our insurance guy here to say that, especially you guys mentioned title as well. We have a great title person in our network, but unfortunately they couldn't be here. So, you know what? Another good question, maybe said differently, can maybe spark some like curiosity. I like this question. What are some early warning signs that first-time investors should pay close attention to, Eris, prior to removing contingencies? I know right now a lot of people are doing that, removing contingencies, mortgage contingency, home inspection contingency. Like, what are some early warning signs that first-time investors should pay close attention to?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to some of what Martin was saying. If you're a first-time investor, whether you're buying a rental property or buying a fixer upper, you really need to have as clear a picture of what everything's going to cost for you before you start removing any of those contingencies. So ideally, if you're looking at a fixer, go there with a contractor before you get your deposit into escrow and all of that stuff. That's not always possible, just given how competitive the market is. But if you can and you have the time and the chance to do that, absolutely. If you're looking at a buy and hold property, I think again, you want to check the title right away, make sure that looks clean, that looks good. Have an understanding too, if it's your first rental that you're buying, what is your responsibility going to be as the landlord? Get a copy of those lease agreements. Understand what you're getting into. So that's where I think you need to start before you start removing contingencies. But also be aware too, and this is where it comes handy, working with an agent, that you have your contingency deadlines, but you really get 2 to 3 days after that with a notice to perform too. So you might have a little more time than you think, but at the same time, we need to move as quick as we can to get you all the information.
Yeah, 100%. No, completely get it. Martin, do you want to add anything to that? That's pretty.
Yeah, no, that was
pretty good.
Summarized everything. The little things I would add would be just like on the seller side. If you get an appraisal, you get an inspection report, something comes up where the appraisal came in really low, or a few really big red flags, like big ticket items come in the inspection report that need to be redone, and the seller and the buyer and their clients are kind of hesitant on negotiating. They're a little bit like reserved about it. They might even be argumentative about it, saying it's not an issue, don't do that. The moment they have stuff like that where they most likely knew these were issues but didn't disclose them, don't be afraid to walk away from a deal. Like, even if it's a really good one, like if there's so many red flags that are hidden and they're very argumentative about the negotiating process, when there's clear evidence that like the roof needs to be done, the HVAC is completely broken, the plumbing's messed up, don't be afraid to walk away. I would say those are the biggest red flags, is argumentative sellers when there's so much evidence that they're just in the wrong.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, so I'll leave. I'm gonna just like I like this. This is you guys answering. I'm just kind of follow up with like whatever I feel like might be the missing information that's mentioned. One of the early warning signs as an investor is that like if you feel like you're not working with enough people who have done projects in the same area, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people just, and that's honestly, obviously, a lot of people feel like they have Zillow and they have all these tools and they're empowered to do all this stuff. But, hiring somebody like Martin or Aris, you know what I mean? Like you're really like leveraging their experience and all the stuff that they have seen that can go wrong so that it doesn't happen to you. You know what I mean? And that's probably the easiest explanation I can give for anyone to make sure they hire a realtor, because that person, essentially is taking responsibility for making sure it gets done correctly, as opposed to just that's like the worst I see is like when people want to buy a house and they're like, okay, I'm gonna just like buy the house from the listing agent. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like
you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. And honestly, the listing agent is working for the seller. You know what I mean? As well. So it's not
I think just kind of finish this off too, tying back into escrow and title. We were talking about it the other day. These scams are getting really sophisticated now. So please do not ever, try to wire any money just via email. Always, everybody, just call the escrow officer. Make sure you have the right escrow officer that you're talking to.
Don't be lazy.
Call them. Be old school, because that's the safest way to protect your investment. These scams are getting really sophisticated, so we have to be on alert for this stuff, guys.
Hey, I'm going to transition to a question that I think is kind of like similar. We just got popped up. And I know this is a very generic question. It could be answered, but like what you alluded to, Aris, is very, very... How does strong communication between professionals affect the success of a deal? Like, can you kind of just, what, Aris, I know that you were just talking. Martin, why don't you just, kind of start on that?
For me, it's really much like we need, especially in wholesaling, a lot of our timelines are between 3 days and to a week, sometimes even faster. So when it's down to our buyer, getting the contract in, getting wires in, doing all that, we need to be right on it. We have to just jump the gun and do it. But on the buyer sell side, it's when we just need something simple, like, oh, we have an amendment, we have, we're trying to close out on something, our money's being held up and we can't really get our deposit back until they cancel it. Like little things like that, just being on it and being on time and making sure that there's always a clear communication between you and the agent, and they know that, hey, if you want this deal to go through with us as the buyer, we need to make sure that you are answering our questions, and we'll be on top of anything you guys need from us. And just having that clear communication will make sure that it runs really smooth. That's another red flag. If they are like, they're not answering after a few days and it's like, you need to sign, like that's also not good.
That's a big red flag. Yeah. If there's not communication where you can easily talk to the other side, or any of the parties involved in the transaction over the phone, you know, it's fine if somebody doesn't answer right away, but they need to get back to you as soon as possible. So that's crucial to a deal going through. And if you're not getting that communication, something's wrong. And I would strongly advise you to be very careful in that situation.
100%. With that same, you know, similar. And I know that you guys aren't in funding, but obviously things fall out because, you know, before funding, and there's a lot of reasons, but would love to have you answer this question. What's the most common reasons transactions fall apart before funds come in? And what, you know, Aris, let's have you go first.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of reasons, but yeah, obviously inspection is a big one. You know, appraisal could be another hurdle. Insurance, you know, if the lender's requiring it, as you mentioned, Ruben, that's gonna, and you can't get it, that can kill a deal as well, can kill the funding.
By the way, if they can't get insurance, if we can't get insurance, we can't give them a loan. I mean, that's
yeah.
That's
So I mean that right there is a big one.
Yeah, it's not insurable. Like that's not a property we want. I mean,
absolutely.
Sorry, deals done. You know what I mean?
100%.
So,
yeah.
People don't take it seriously enough. You know what I mean? Unfortunately.
No, they don't, and they really should, because I mean, if you've bought a house in the last 2 years, you probably know, or any property in the last 2 years in Southern California, insurance has gotten way harder to get and much more expensive. So it really is something. And actually, in fact, because it's gotten so much more challenging, the Realtor Association in California made it a contingency separate, you know, from the rest of the contract. So it is no joke. It's something we have to do.
100%. Okay, great. I'm just looking. This is a really good question. From your role in a transaction. So just peer through what you guys do and how you guys see everybody else. Like what due diligence step protects a buyer the most, would you say?
For me, I almost always get an inspection report during our deal, because that's really the best way to negotiate. Because if I offer if I offer $500K on a property and I know I have to be lower, and I just blindly like offer them 50, 60K lower, they're most likely just going to tell me to just like kick rocks, don't even like deal with this anymore. But if I go in hand with an inspection report saying my initial offer is at $500,000, but the roof needs to be done, and there's actually a crack in the foundation that's pushing into a pipe or something, then you have all the power, all the leverage to be able to negotiate a buy down. And then other things, like don't be afraid of doing stuff like, oh, the tenant wants to be in the property a month after you close or something. Like having these holdbacks in place. Don't be afraid of those either. Little things like that can give you more negotiating power. So inspection, and don't be afraid to do almost creative financing or almost creative deal structures such as that.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, no, I think the home inspection is critical. Before I kind of like chime in, Aris, what do you think? What step in the like the due diligence process protects your buyers the most, would you say?
I guess I'll address it from like a macro level. And I think that's really just how I see my role in terms of, you know, our job representing a buyer. And again, it really comes down to sort of managing those contingencies, because the contingencies are there to protect the buyer. And so we really don't remove those until we know with 100% certainty that we're good to move forward at that time. But again, you know, a deal is a moving target, and just knowing those timelines, knowing that you have the 2 extra days minimum with the notice to perform if you need it. You know, those are little tricks of the trade to make sure that we get all of the information before we have you remove that contingency, because once you remove those contingencies, you can't undo that.
100%. So I will tell you, I'm live providing this confession. When I used to flip homes in the GFC, Great Financial Crisis, we were given a lot of good advice, and one of those pieces of advice was like, hey, skip the home inspection and bring your own contractor. You know what I mean? And we may have done that once. We may have done that once until we realized that like every contractor are not created equal, and just because this guy swings a hammer doesn't mean that he can inspect the house. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like how silly it is when people think like they think they can just like skip a $500, or maybe, you know, when we were doing, you know, flips, it wasn't even $500 for a home inspection. Maybe it was like $200, and like,
yeah,
people could have saved $200.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Honestly, guilty. We did it, but we learned. We were like, holy crap.
Yeah.
This roof needs to be replaced. And we didn't know that. And the guy that saw, one of our friends' uncle who came by and said, hey, looks great to me, guys. He was just trying to do us a favor. Like, he's not trying to give us you know what I mean? Like, even though he had every best intention, it's like, $200, guys. I know how to swing a hammer. You know what I mean? Or I have a tool belt. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, this is how you become an expert. You have to find other experts, not find people who can do favors. Like, it's just like, it's unbelievable. Yes. But like,
most people don't know that you like literally have to be licensed. It's not just like a easy thing. It's like you have to be licensed in each state to be an inspector. Sure. It's like a rigorous thing for it. So it's like you can't just do it on a whim. So it's always
same thing with all
for everything. Yeah,
to be an escrow person, there need licenses to do this stuff, and like, we're not trying to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You know what?
Yeah, no, I mean,
question.
To your point, Ruben, not all, you know, contractors are qualified, but, you know, it works the other way too with home inspectors. Like, sometimes like they don't know what they're doing, so they'll just like flag everything as bad, and it might not be the case, you know, in the property. So you really need to have a home inspector that is an expert, that knows what they're looking at, so that you can actually get to whatever the root of the issues are in that property, but also have a clear understanding, like, okay, the house isn't going to fall down, you know, at the same time. So no, it's hard to find, but you need to have someone that's knowledgeable enough to tell you what's wrong and what isn't wrong, so that you're not walking away from what could be a good deal as well.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to
ask. By the way, 100%. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
One thing I'll say, hire someone smarter than you. If you feel like you know a lot about construction, there's probably someone who knows way more. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a great point.
Like, ego is not your amigo. That's what I always tell people. Like, is no bueno. You know what I mean? Don't have an ego like looking at the house. Because yeah, that's how we lost a lot of money. And I can laugh because I survived that part of my life. Okay, hey, I really have a really good question. Maybe not completely specifically to week 5, but it's something that I'm sure everyone asked you. Like, hey, in today's market, what does a structured deal look like from your professional perspective? Because I'm sure a lot of people making offers, but not everyone's getting them accepted. Like, what does it look like in Mr. Carlsbad perspective? What deals are getting done? Which offers are getting accepted? How are they doing it? Aris, can you go first and answer that, please?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and this is going to be, again, depending on your market area. So like if you're looking to buy in Carlsbad, for example, it's a very competitive market. We don't have a ton of inventory. So if you're looking to, make an offer below the asking price on a property that just hit the market, your chances of success there are not going to be very high, if it's
just say, man, just say they're very low. They're very low, getting a low ball offer.
You're not going to do well. But, if the property's been sitting conversely for some time, and I feel like people always just forget about, those sort of long day on market properties, that's where you can kind of try to make some inroads toward the deal. So,
Yeah.
But in terms of structuring the deal,
or if they just lowered the price of the property, right? That's when you can potentially pounce.
Right, exactly. So it depends on the situation. In terms of structuring the deal, if you want to make sure that your pre-approval with your lender, if you're using one, is clean. You've got everything worked out there, and you're in a position to be competitive.
Got it. That's great. Yeah, no, super great. I think we can save a lot of people time by telling them not to put lowball offers into San Diego County properties, especially Carlsbad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't lowball without something in hand, like telling you can lowball, like the inspection report, any of the appraisal, whatever it is. But for me, like kind of our structure that we do is more conservative underwriting, and that might mean a more lowball offer. But the way we counteract that is we have very strong contingencies where most people have very contingency where like we can't negotiate this, we need this, and that. For us, if we're gonna have to lower or offer a little bit lower than asking, we always make sure our contingencies are stronger, if not the strongest on the table. And then we're also open to letting the realtors know, like, hey, like we might not be the highest offer, but if your highest offer falls through, like don't be afraid to call us back. Like we'll be ready to jump on this, even if you go with somebody else. Like that's the whole thing with leaving your ego. It's like just because you weren't their top pick and they tell you your offer is bad, like just let them know, like, hey, if you want to call me back, like I'll be here and I'll be ready to answer the phone.
100%. I'm sure you like. I'm glad you like the. I don't know if you heard that before. Ego is not your amigo, but when someone told me that one time, I'm like, you know what, you're right. Like I'm just gonna act as if I don't know, and then like, work with the professionals that are paid to know. Like, I mean, as much as that might seem like too simple, like literally that's what every investor should do. You know what I mean? Like, especially, I mean, man, I don't even want to talk about like out of state investing. Like, oh my God. Like you have to, like, you have to trust people at that point, right? Especially Californians. I mean, there's just not many Californians that are, I mean, all those first time buyers that I'm looking to are buying their first property in California. They're trying to buy their first property outside of California so they can kind of like catch the wave up so they can refinance. You know what I mean? Like, so it's amazing. So inevitably you're getting first time home buyers that are trying to buy their first property out of state just so they can get back into California. And I'm like, if that's the case, you have to be an investor. You have to learn like how to invest before you even buy your first property. And that, honestly, given the price points in San Diego, it's almost like it's the must. You know what I mean? Like there's no starter homes in San Diego. You know what I mean? And maybe a starter home if you consider an $800,000 property a starter home, which is like not the case. You know what I mean? So anyhow, it's just it's beyond me. So anyway, one question that I saw that came up that I really don't want to ask you. I mean, I hate to, honestly, people are asking questions from everywhere, but they might have been the same thing, but I like the way this was asked. It's basically, what financial, legal, or timing safeguards should always be built into the property? I know that we mentioned this, the home inspection. Maybe let's try to zero in something else that might be important, because they're all important. You know what I mean? Let's face it, right? Eris, looks like you're deep thought. So you go first.
No, that's a great question as well. And yeah, I mean, whenever we're doing a purchase contract on a property, you'll see, like, I mean, most people don't look at a purchase contract every day, but there's contingencies and protections built into the contract. You just have to know how to use them. So we make sure that, that's explained clearly and fully to you guys. For example, if you wanted to get a home inspection done right away, before putting your earnest money deposit in, you have 3 days to get that deposit into escrow. So you could theoretically schedule it really quick before you even put the money in. If it came back really bad and the seller didn't want to negotiate, you could cancel before you even put in $1 into escrow. So there's tricks of the trade like that. Just knowing the timelines, knowing how to use those contingencies. I think that would be, my best advice to answer that question.
Cool. Awesome. Chris, Cadillac, Chris 1031 Exchange Maestro. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Hey, how are you? How's everybody? Hey, Martin.
Hey,
Hey,
Chris.
we're
What's up,
answering
Chris?
some
Doing
questions.
great, man. Thank you.
Are you willing to answer some good questions or what, Chris?
Sure.
All right. Cool. Well, you know what? I know that you're ready all the time and you're multitasking. You're not only on the camera, you're holding the camera, bro. This is
I
like
have to hold the camera.
okay. So one of the questions that just came up that Eris did a great job is that like what financial, legal, or timing safeguards should always be built into an investor's first deal, or in this case, home buyer's first deal. What would the first thing that come to mind in that regard?
As far as timing, I mean, what do you mean specifically? I'm trying to clarify what that.
So, what financial, legal, or timing safeguards? We talked about a lot of home inspection, so let's just not mention that. But that's a safeguard. That's a due diligence item that people can use to protect themselves in case like deal falls out or you know what I mean, goes bad. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What financial, legal, or timing safeguards would you always recommend your clients to have built in when they do their first deal?
Well, I think that when, let's say it's a buyer purchasing a property, if I'm representing the buyer, I would put in there that if the buyer is not able to find their property in a certain period of time, that they have the right to extend escrow at least another 15 to 30 days. That way they actually have time to actually identify that property and then close on that property, right? Because if escrow, the escrow period or that period of time, is very short, the buyer is stressed about buying a property and they probably will not be able to buy the property that they really want because they're under the gun. So I would put in there on the purchase contract that the buyer has the right to, um, you know, um, extend escrow if they don't have enough time to purchase
Cool.
the replacement property. You know what I mean?
Yeah, great.
That's a good.
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to make sure that our viewers understand is that Chris is answering the question in the context of what he does. He's a 1031 exchange expert. He's talking about being able to have enough time to buy a second property. So we can like literally talk more about building our portfolio. By the way, which happens next week, we're gonna be talking all about that. Chris is going to be all over this 1031 thing because again, once you buy your first property, which we can close on your first property, which essentially is this week. Next week, you're going to be thinking like, hey, when am I going to be ready for my next one? And when am I going to be ready to build this
Exactly.
empire?
So so that time is a factor. It's definitely got to be built into that contract so that they're able to have the time that they need in order to purchase their property without being under the gun to purchase something that they don't want to buy, right?
100%. And Aris, I'm sorry to interrupt earlier. That you wanted to add commentary. I just want to make sure that people understand.
Well, I know Martin has something to say, so go ahead, buddy.
So from a more wholesaling perspective, like a little faster timeline, unless you're buying from like a reputable wholesaler that isn't trying to pull a fast one on you, pull some money out of you, make sure you ask for a decent inspection period. That's another thing you can use for negotiating is quicker inspection period, but make sure you have a solid inspection period that you can get like full like mitigation of like risk in there. So making sure you verify HOA docs, inspections, zoning, make sure that in that period you're able to identify all those little things that could be an issue for you down the road or later when you're trying to rehab the property to make sure that you don't just screw yourself and end up with a huge loss. So
Got it.
Well, then one last thing I kind of just popped into my head that I forgot to mention, kind of tackling some of the previous questions as well, is the seller has a responsibility to provide this, what we call the seller disclosures to you. Martin knows this, within 3 days. Every day that they don't after those 3 days, you get another day added onto your inspection contingency. And those are really important documents because the seller has to disclose everything they know about the property, any material defects. And so that's where we can learn some of that stuff even before the inspection sometimes. But they're really crucial to get an idea as to what's going on with that property.
100%. 100%. Hey, I wanna bring up a question that I had asked Eris and Martin, but now that Chris is here, it actually make a lot of sense because I can actually pose a scenario that this can be, this could be a nightmare scenario for an investor. But let's just say that I just bought my first property. I work with Chris. I worked with Eris to buy that property, and I'm working with Martin as a wholesaler to find a deal that would then qualify me to do the 1031 exchange. Chris, Aris and Martin asked this, answered, had the ability to answer this question earlier. I want to give you the same opportunity. And
Okay.
they said what you would expect because obviously they're part of this network and communication is obviously key. But how does strong communication play into that scenario so that it doesn't turn into a nightmare scenario, essentially? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Communication definitely is the key. I mean, everybody needs to know what's going on. I mean, with escrow, the buyer's agent, the listing agent, everybody has to be on point. I've been in certain transactions where, I was a listing agent and the buyer just wasn't communicating with me. And the deal was about ready to fall apart because the buyer's agent wasn't communicating. I was all, what's going on with all the documentation? Where are you guys at with your financing? Communication really is very, very important to make sure that the transaction does really go smoothly. I mean, also in a 1031 tax deferred exchange, our administrators need to be in constant contact with the escrow and also the buyers and the sellers. I mean, that is like the number one thing is communication, because without the communication, these transactions can fall apart very, very easily.
100%. I want to give you guys. I'm gonna give you guys a funny kind of like scenario that's happening to me. I work with an investor, very young, very brave, very bold, like rolling all the dice just so that he can make a name for himself. And I'll leave his name out of it just because it's not about him. It's specifically about the situation. So he is a much younger, full of energy investor than I would be because he's like, I don't know, he's probably like 32, right? So I'm 47. 32-year-old typically doesn't pick up calls, doesn't pick up phone calls, right? I mean, you guys know, right? Even like everyone's laughing. No one picks up phone calls. But the point is, talk, and we don't have any problem communicating with each other because he knows that this is how business gets done. If he doesn't pick up the phone, like he's gonna miss a call from me, and I'm gonna tell him where his financing is. And if he acted like a normal millennial, he would wait until like I had to like show up at his door to get his attention. You know what I mean? Like literally, there's like people just I'm just trying to tell people like you just gotta pick up the phone and be a real person. You know what I mean? Like we can't act like we don't want to talk to people. It's just like
100%,
unfortunately
yeah.
that's the problem these days is that but what's cool is that this guy that I work with, he gets it. He doesn't treat me like another millennial. He treats me like someone like, hey, if I call you, it's important. Like pick up the damn phone. I didn't have to say that to him, but like I have to say that to so many people. Like it's
Yes.
amazing. Like I have an offer that I want to put in. Call me back. Do I get a call back? I'm like, who is this? Like this guy's supposed to be a realtor. Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
They're gonna just call me whenever they're available.
Yeah.
Like, and this is what I'm trying to make is that communication. I don't care. There's no excuse that you're a millennial or an alpha, whatever they call these guys. Like, there's no excuse. If we're in business, we have to be able to talk to each other and honestly pick up the phone when you hear the phone ring. I mean, that's business as far as I'm concerned. Guys, can you? I mean, I've said my piece. That's just the thing. Like, but this guy gets it. He's 32 years old and he picks up like he doesn't treat me like like most 32-year-olds. It's like, come on, dude. I'm just trying to get business done. I'm not trying to like do anything other than that. Pick up the phone or even respond to my texts.
Yes.
Like, holy crap. So it's interesting. Is that
Well, the person who picks up the phone and answers the phone, they're the ones who are going to get the business, right, Eric?
Yes.
I mean, the sooner you get back with people, if you answer the phone
100%.
like right there, you're going to get the business. Everyone else,
100%.
is not.
100%. That's how I feel all the time. People call,
Yep.
they want money. And I'm like, hello. And it's a scammer. It's whatever. I don't care. I don't want to miss out the opportunity of a real person. know what I mean? Like, and that's just what it is. And I tell people all the time, hey, if I don't pick up, I will call you back. Like,
Oh,
and
100%.
it's funny as it is, when people say that to me, people don't call back. But when I say I'm gonna call back, it's like, hey, if I don't call this guy back, he's gonna know that I don't follow up on my promises. You know what I mean? Like that's how literally, like, this is how people succeed in this business, and it's so mind blowing. It's like they think like being a millennial is an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. Anyways, I'm gonna get off my soapbox because like it's just like it's mind blowing. Like communication is like is so key. And I literally call people today and I'm like, hey, I need someone to lease this. Like this guy has an 8-unit he just literally completed. I'll give you guys the address. I called up at least like 3 leasing agents. I'm like, hey, this guy needs a property manager because he needs to lease up these properties ASAP. And how many callbacks did I get?
0. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, bro. And this is the crazy part. Commercial real estate is all about this. You call someone on a building and like, and you know what? I'm not afraid to call them out live. Marcus and Millichap, CBRE, all these big guys think they're like hot shit. Like, but they don't pick up the damn phone. So they're never going to get my business. You get me? So like, and I'm like, bro,
No, it's mind-boggling. I feel you on that for sure.
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how this works. This real estate economy works in the old fashion that it always used to work. It's like you have these people who are like trying to hold on to all the information, and It's just like, dude, we don't live in this world anymore. You guys, like nobody. You guys aren't gatekeepers of anything. You know what I mean? Like, why aren't you calling me back? I'm interested in this property. It's just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, no, I always try to get back to people as soon as possible. I mean, I think the industry has really shifted to, and I'm for it. You know, it's all about the consumer. But what I'm finding is people have less and less free time, right? So when they need to go see a property, that's them reaching out to the listing agent or the owner of the property saying, hey, I'm free and this is when I can come and see your property that I'm interested in. So if you're not responding to that, it means you're, turning away a deal potentially. I mean, you have to get at bats, as I call them. So
reps, to get the reps in.
People want it when they want it, so that's what I try to respect. And if you're a real estate agent not answering or returning calls, you're in the wrong line of work.
Bro, you should do something else. You should count beans.
I actually met Ruben a few back last year because of that. Because I was working with a lender for a condo we had, and I had a buyer just ready to jump in, do everything. And I sent him to this guy. He took our entire company out to lunch. He's like, hey, I want to work your business. I want to do this. I want to do this with you guys. Anything you need, give me a call. And then when it goes to bring them a client, just all they have to do is get qualified. They're ready. This guy's a doctor. Like he has his money, everything set. And the lender called me. It's like, hey, can you get the credit report? Can you get all the basic information, name, address, all that? And then send it to me. I'll fill it out, send it back to you. You send it to him. It's like, no, just pick up the phone and call him. Like, even the basic part, basic information, even the credit score, it's like he sent me the list to then send to him. And then when he finally does, he texted him the list. And it's like, it's not like a simple thing where you just fill out, but it was like the guy called me asking questions about what specific things on the funding sheet look like. And I'm just like, can't believe this guy didn't call you. So then.
Yeah, that's a big no-no for sure. Yeah.
And he was like a big player. Like he was a reputable guy. So it's like, you took me out to lunch and you didn't even call me. Like,
but you know what, does this is the thing, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'll just say it because it's the truth. Like, taking out. I haven't taken any of you guys out to lunch except Chris because he lives so damn close to me, and you know what I mean. And I just only have so much free time. But I don't know. That's just the way the old guard used to do. Like, hey, I'll take you out to lunch. I'll buy you some food, and maybe you'll refer me all your business, but I don't have to do anything. I'm like, bro, I don't care if you buy me lunch, dinner, and drinks. Like, I'm not going to refer you business if you don't show up when you don't need it. But you know what I mean? I'll take the drinks and the lunch. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know why people do that and don't give you good service. It's just like, bro, like just because you bought lunch from me doesn't mean that like
Yep.
I'm gonna send you business. You know what I mean?
That's how the big players are with the 1031
That's how the
exchange
big players are.
companies.
They just want to send their
Yeah.
cronies with their budgets.
Yeah.
And
They don't
like,
pick up their phone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just it's so weird. But hey, guys, we're changing the game. I am completely like I know it. I see it. I feel it. It's almost 2 o'clock. So I'm gonna wrap it up. You'll know that like all these videos, all these bits are going to be curated in the sense that like it will always be available. And honestly, what I will say, and I'm going to share it right now, just for just for maybe if it comes up for viewing pleasure, I'll share. I can. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't think my tab is coming up. But the point is, you guys go to the school classroom. You'll see all these videos. You'll click on 1031. You'll see all the questions that Chris answered for the group. And honestly, the person that is most engaged, most involved, gets to be the person that wants to put up that video. So once this school community grows to where it needs to be grown, as I mentioned, Aris and Martin. Anytime anyone buys something in Carlsbad, it's gonna be you, brother. Anybody wants to look for wholesale property, Martin helps out. So we all help each other out. Hopefully, we can see you on a future podcast, you all, because like really, like I really do want. I do. Holy crap! Did Chris leave already? All right. Well, hey guys, if you're in the real estate business and you want to join, you want to be able to be given opportunities like Aris and Martin and Chris. Chris thinks he's such a staple. He can just come in and out whenever he wants. It's all good. But hey, thank you guys. Hey, if you're interested in what we're doing, you can join .learninlocal.com. We are currently we're looking for experts all over San Diego County. The goal before this quarter, Q2 2026, is to find Mr. Carlsbad in all 32 cities in San Diego. It's going to be tough because Aris is one unique individual. But hey, that's our mission. We'll make it happen. Thank you, Chris, for being a part. Aris, Martin,
Thank you, guys.
Being a part.
Thank you.
Hey, tune in on Friday. We're gonna be talking about City of Lakeside. If you're looking for property in Lakeside, we'll be there. All right, make it a great day, everybody.